Council meetings are long and boring. Wouldn't it be great if they're short and unboring? This is why I have invented the 5-minute meeting. Alrighty, Ashland City Council meeting of April 20th starts with a public forum. A guy with a plant behind him said water supply is a huge problem. Why aren't we being proactive? You know, high five, dude. Nicely done. And then off to the city manager's report, and right away, city manager goes, hey, May 3rd, study sessions about the water supply. So there you go. And May 3rd is also about the storm drains, SDCs, whatever that is. And then the May 4th city council meeting will have lots of important items on it. So he read the agenda for the next city council meeting. It was completely weird. And then we have lots of other meetings coming up, he says. And then also Wednesdays, there's a city manager recruitment Zoom meeting. And then the consent agenda. Boy, item 3 was approved, no matter what that was. Item 2 was pulled in. It's about the public art in Railroad Park. And the art guy talked about how art markers and spokes pieces are all going on around town. So that stuff's going to happen for years, I think. And then keep an eye on it. It might be very cool. And then the artist came and talked about the new art piece and lots of worrying and about and thanking and apologizing the Chinese railroad workers, because the railroad tribute there, themed art piece, and so the art piece all approved. And then item number 1, quick appointing 1 new art commissioner. Seems pretty simple, right? Oh, no, hold on to your biscuits, ladies. Whew, this gets wild. So this one says, hey, the way commissioners are appointed needs changing, so this arts appointment should be delayed until we fix the entire process. It has nothing to do with this one person. And this one says, she goes, hey, well, the commissioner appointments are the same as always, so why shut down this one specific one? And then this guy goes, oh, well, we need to rehaul this whole process. I mean, it's willy-nilly and out of control. It has nothing to do with this one person. And this one goes, the person I met with and approved the usual way, and this feels like an attempt to derail this one specific person. And this one goes, oh, no, this has nothing to do with this one person. I just don't have enough information about arts appointments. And, this person doesn't have any art experience at all. They're just a dancer, But it's about the process and not the person who's really just a dancer, And so this one went to the mat, defending her commissioner appointment process, and implied that the old mayor appointed commissioners. These two were fine with it, but now magically find the process problematic. And so she lost her shit a little bit on this one. A fun fact, this one right here, I've applied for the budget commission twice, and the only 2 people who never contacted me about that were these 2. Curious, isn't it? I don't know what that means. But so this one goes, hey, let's get going here. I move to appoint this person to the Arts Commission and look at making the committee appointment process more generically consistent in the future. All approved. And then the Community Development Block Grant Annual Report, the city housing lady said, we got $185,000 from HUD, federal government money, and we had $120,000 left over from last year, so the city has $300,000 earmarked for housing only, with very specific rules on how it can be spent, and is mostly capital improvements, building stuff. And so, and that's why we always have money left over, because we don't normally have enough stuff to build, to spend this HUD money on. But wait for it, ORA, Oregon's Helping Residents of Ashland, I think they want $270,000 to convert the Super 8 motel to a full-time shelter. That's building stuff. So you have to use a bunch of money. And then who else? Oh, the Maslow Project wanted $25,000 to help homeless kids and families. That's always great. Big fans of the whole thing. Everything's approved. And then the creating the Social Equity and Racial Justice Commission. The public forum there was for this. The Lawyers for Justice lady, she showed up. She made a lot of very specific legal language recommendations. She was like lawyer on this one. And then a guy with his 3 buddies around him said, hey, we put on the rally last weekend. We want to support this commission as fast as possible. And then the city attorney said, the language creating this commission was a combination of the mayor's initial proposal and council input and dozens of other city commissions in the region had similar stuff. I pulled from that, and I incorporated pretty much all the Lawyers for Justice ladies' proposals. So there's a lot of agreed discussion about specific language. There's it's LGBTQ plus and marginalized peoples was the agreed to language for this group. And then this one brought up an interesting point. He goes, hey, just checking. Hey, Nazis can't claim to be marginalized and then come in and cause trouble, can they? And the city attorney goes, that's actually a pretty good question, but we should be good. We should really trick those dumb Nazis easy. And then this one says, I move to approve this commission, all approved. And then new business, the approval of the architectural and engineering of Pioneer Hall and the community center, as though the city bearded public works guy said, city staff picked a contractor and had applications and meetings with people, and the cost for just designing and engineering these two buildings is $185,000. And this one says, hey, what about the other local people who are wanting to volunteer to help rebuild these buildings? And I think we know who the main guy is on that one. And then the public works guy goes, well, there's a process the city legally must follow, so it's not as simple as just letting contractors pitch in and all that and do the work. And this one goes, hey, it seems crazy expensive. Can't we just repair the buildings and not completely redesign and re-engineer everything? And the city guy goes, well, they're old buildings, so they're way out of code. So the minute you start to repair them, it forces us as a city liable for getting sued all the time to bring everything up to code. And so then this one goes, she goes, hey, isn't it just super reasonable to just carefully move forward and try to combine the costs? And the city guy goes, while following the past council's directions? Yes. Not that kind of concept in there. And then this one goes, hey, I move we approve $185,000 for engineering these two buildings. And this one says, she goes, I don't like it. The community center should have a theater. And this one says, that's stupid. There has to be a way to fix these two buildings cheaper. And this one says, I'm not 100% on board, but the $185K will let us know how much more we need to spend going forward. And the bearded guy says, I love saying going forward, which he says all the time. It's crazy. And then they had a vote, 3-3. That's right. One, two. There's your no's. They said no, and no. And then the other three were no, or yes. And so, tiebreaker time. What is this one going to do? She says no. That's right. No, they're not going to pay $185,000 for some engineering. So what do we do now? Counselors will send in ideas to staff, and we're going to go from there. And then the food and beverage tax rate, the city finance director said allocations and rate studies and tossed a big crazy financial word salad. And my translation into English is, I think, the food and beverage taxes are supposed to go 25% to parks, then payments on the sewer treatment plant debt, then pay for streets. So finance lady's proposing we pay off the sewer treatment loan of $1.4 million. That saves $100,000, and then just give the entire restaurant tax, food and bev, to the parks. And then this guy goes, I don't think we can just decide to give all this money to parks, and wherever we got that $1.4 million, future food and bev taxes should repay that. And the city manager goes, whether or not to repay that is completely why we are having this discussion, actually. Did we not mention that? And they did not, of course. That's the beauty of the word salad, though. You throw it up in the air, and it can mean anything you want to in retrospect. And so then this one says, hey, I move to have staff tell us if repaying that $1.4 million is helpful in some way. And it's 3-1 approved. He didn't like that idea. And then they voted for more information and not changing anything of the food and beverage taxes. So it was odd. Nothing changed. They just kind of asked them. They could have sent an email, I think, and solved that problem. But then city finance director proposed outsourcing 2 specific billing tasks that some city staff are doing right now on the side, but it's not part of their regular job. And so this 3-year deal will save us money compared to hiring one person to just do this work. And did she say it that clearly? Of course not. It was all approved, though. End of meeting. You're welcome.